If you grew up with neglect or abuse, you may have a tendency to cling to bad relationships with people who don't love you or are cold or cruel or even abusive. And one way traumatized people deal with the obvious BS and self-destructiveness of staying is with rationalizations. Now you might think, it's really just me, and if I were nicer, they would treat me better, or, well, they have CPTSD, so for once they deserve someone to just stick with them no matter how they behave, and then they'll change. Now, one I hear fairly often is, I want to leave, but I'm a wreck, and I can't manage it, so I'll just stay until I feel a little stronger. And that's very dangerous thinking because it's very unlikely to happen. My letter today is from a woman I'll call Joyce, and she writes, Dear Fairy, I'm recently divorced after a long and loving marriage. My ex-husband still loves me, though not as a wife. He helped me to face my depression and seek therapy, which led me to understand childhood PTSD. I'm now in a sort of breadcrumb situation with a man who is the opposite of my ex-husband. We've been sleeping together for about 4 months. He is quite critical and finds ways to remind me that I'm not too important in his life. For example, he says things like, why would I call you for your birthday when I don't even call my relatives? He's told me point blank that he doesn't want a relationship because it's not worth the effort. One time I joked to him that he shouldn't buy me a diamond bracelet we saw. He said, I would never buy you diamonds. I try to laugh these off, but I know he means it. The truth is that I was lonely for many years before my marriage. Now I'm older and broken, so I foresee many more years of loneliness ahead. With this man, there's no affection, which means there's no sense of longing or fear. In fact, his words are nothing compared to what I heard growing up. So whenever he reminds me that I don't matter, it's like a tiny voice inside me says, I already know that, so your words don't hurt me. I know logically that this situation is bad for me, but the alternative is abject loneliness. At least this way, there is physical contact and company on the weekend. I think walking away would leave me even more vulnerable to breaking down. Should I stay until I'm strong enough to be alone? Thank you for your help and for everything you do. All right, Joyce. Oh, yes, let me see if I can help. I think I can. So, Joyce, someone planted a bad seed in your consciousness when you were a kid, and you refer to it very briefly by just saying, the way that this guy in your life right now treats you is nothing compared to how you were treated as a kid. And so a little voice in your head sort of makes it all seem okay that he acts like that because you think you already know, and so his words can't hurt you. His words are destroying you, sweetheart. They're bad. It's very, very bad to be treated that way. And it's not that important, actually, to have somebody physically with you. I get that loneliness is hard. But people get into bad relationships like this, usually because loneliness is a factor. Many, many people are lonely. Many people, single and in relationships, are not lonely, not because of the relationship, because I think you're actually quite lonely in this relationship. But they're not lonely because they're involved in their life with other people doing things that give them joy. And I can't say enough how important this is. I think when there's an attachment wound from trauma in your childhood, it's really easy to get that one partner. And I guess you had a loving husband, and he cares about you, but he doesn't feel that way about you. He's not with you. And he helped you face depression and seek therapy, and that led you to understand CPTSD. So good. There's a little background that you sort of accidentally showed me there, that you have a history of depression that you are having trouble facing. And that's really normal for people who were traumatized as kids. And you got therapy. Now you're trying to sort of like skirt something about the recovery and just hold on to this real crap fit relationship. Do you know that term, Joyce? Crap fit is the word I use for when we fit ourselves to unacceptable people and situations. So somebody who tells you flat out that you're not important, he doesn't want a relationship, he's critical, he says, why would I call on your birthday? He says he would never buy diamonds for you, and you try to laugh it off. That's you crap fitting. Everybody here, we totally understand trying to make it okay for somebody to have treated you like that, because if you actually had to face what he is saying, you'd have to walk out the door. And so in the time that's passed since you sent me this letter, I hope you've walked out the door. I hope that you have gone ahead and allowed yourself to be by yourself. by yourself when you're supported in a healing process, whether it's through therapy, 12-step fellowships, group activities, exercise, dance, theater, artistic expression, work. Personally, I think certain jobs can be very therapeutic because they keep you connected with other people in a constructive way. Sort of depends what your triggers are. But to be living life, man or no man, just having your life is a joy. And when you have joy in your life, you start to have confidence that I don't have to stay in a bad relationship. Like if this doesn't work for me, if I just find myself feeling miserable most of the time, I'm gonna go read my book. I'm gonna go, see my friends. I'm gonna go take my tennis class that I wanted to take, whatever it is for you. I don't take tennis. I'm so not that kind of person. But I do have friends. I do read books. I love to hike. I love to hike alone. And when I had to teach myself to enjoy my solitude, walking in nature was one of the biggest things that I learned to love. And I even figured out how to take some vacations by myself because I had a job where I had to take trips sometimes. And I figured out, like, I can do this by myself. I have a lovely time, in a city, going out, exploring, going to a museum, things like that. I can do that in my own city and have just a great day. So, I'm just hearing it. You have just a deep need for joy and love and support in your life. And this guy is just taking old ideas that you took inside when you were a kid and amplifying them for you. So what I wanted to specifically address, Joyce, is this idea is, should I stay until I'm strong enough to be alone? I'm sorry, Joyce, the longer you stay, the weaker you will get, because when you accept treatment like this, it wears you down, it grinds you down. And you need to get that to stop happening. Do not let yourself be ground down any more than you are. The solution is to not be ground down. There's no, I can see the picture you have in your mind. I'll just sit around and enjoy sitting on the couch together, and somehow all the verbal abuse and the unkindness will soon feel less bad, and then I can leave. But that's not logical. This is one to get out of. This is emotional abuse, and it's, he really just sounds like somebody no one is ever going to have a good relationship with. I would say it's not you, but the thing that you're doing here is just being there at all. Like the fact that you would be there and the way you're rationalizing it is, but I'll be lonely, but I have to choose between a terrible relationship and abject loneliness. Not so. You have to choose between a terrible relationship and your life with nothing terrible in it. Okay? Your life with nothing terrible in it is full of possibilities and fun and colors and people and fun things to do and holidays and animals if you like them. And, good things await you when all that energy isn't hemorrhaging. I hope that helps you, Joyce. If you love this topic, I've got a video lined up for you about getting shamed into believing that half love is all you deserve. And that video is right here, and I will see you very soon.